Greetings, beloved human family and co-creators. I am Gilles Mansillon, and I come today to speak very briefly to expand a little bit on my thoughts and ideas as it relate to the spiritual ascension of the planet, our own individual ascension. I hope my ideas will help you to become more conscious and to increase, therefore, the quality of your life, your flow, your grace and ease, to be able to move into a situation where you are actually have liberated all those negative aspects of the ego personality that is preventing you from experiencing total joy and happiness at every moment in life. So I just want to inspire you to expand your consciousness. It is not, I'm not trying to sell you out on ideas or to create new religion or anything like that. I just want you to be aware of your own heart, your own self, and to listen within. I also wanted to say, when I spoke about Arcturus, and some people ask me questions about how to connect to Arcturians, there are many ways. In English, there is quite a lot of channel messages that are. I encourage you to listen to those channel messages if you are attracted to that, those energies. Those channel messages are every day. There's many messages on the internet that are being communicated now. Of course, when we listen to a channel, we have to use discrimination. For a long time, there was channels that were not always so clear, and so that you could sense that the ego was interfering with the message, and so the angels, archangels, and galactic families were, allowing that to happen. But now the channel that persevere, that are still communicating, are more and more clear. However, there is also like fourth dimensional messages that are not always on the highest frequency. They are presented along the side of the higher energies, but they're very polarized. We are the nice guys, they are the bad guys, we will win over them, and there is all those polarity. It's not negative, but it's not on the higher plane. It is something just a fourth dimension, just a level above, and sometimes those messages needs to be, they may be useful for those who enjoy that, but they are not fifth dimensional messages. But channel messages, when you listen to a channel message, you wanna, if possible, to sense the energy of this who is speaking and to commune, to get even more out of it. And sometimes, most of the time, when you receive there is higher frequency messages, it's encoded in such a way that you can listen to it a few times, and you will still get new things every time you listen to it. Or twice, or maybe, and so I encourage you to avail yourself to listen to some of those messages. Also to connect to the Arcturians or to ascended masters or any higher frequency being. A good way when you begin with that, when you haven't really opened your consciousness to create a direct link, is to get a book like with the Arcturians or others. Or even Ascended Master's channel book, and to read it, and while you read it, just understand that the Ascended Master is sitting with you right in the same room, and so it really helps when you read these words to connect, or to when you read a message from the Arcturians, to know that they are watching you, they are here with you, and that really helps the fact that you can actually make the connection in real time. So I encourage you to find those books that you may be inclined to, that would be easy and comfortable for you to read, and that will help you to solidify this connection with other higher consciousness. In a sense, when we begin to be aware of something, when we are aware of something, we can no longer pretend that we do not know. I mean, it's otherwise we are lying to ourselves. So this was something I said in my last video. What I meant by that is that when I was young, I was basically an atheist. I was bent on pleasure. I wasn't really much interested in religion, but eventually I discovered the thought of God, and then I met God, and after that there was no way to deny this fact. I mean, I found myself really blessed by this experience, by this knowing. And so the idea is that although it's not politically correct to say that God is all there is, when people will say, well, look in the world, it's only misery and suffering, but it's not true. In fact, it's just a sole purpose in life. So if you are seeking to ascend, I recommend you to turn off the television for a while, or you be very careful, because 90% of what the television is the glorification of violence, of fear, of terrorism, of war, and they make it such a glorious thing, and they keep bombarding the collective consciousness with all those negative energy. Of course, the light is everywhere. Even within those messages, there is light, but you have to be disconnected from the matrix in order not to be affected by all those negative programming that is constantly being projected into the world. So if you want ascension, you cannot get your news from television, but most of you already know that. So this awakening is an awakening to get your life in order, both inside and outside, because time is moving forward, and so we have to address all the issues that we need to address the faster as possible, so that we can be free. Because if we avoid issues, then they will be coming back. So when we're at the other, so address all the issues and then shine your light on the outside world. But do wear gloves when you speak to the world. You have to put on form that can be accepted, not to brutalize everybody or anybody, to just force them into understanding those things they're not willing or ready to understand. But they will in time, because we are all eternal and finite beings who have chosen to materialize in this temporal form, to participate in this amazing time of awakening on this planet. So turning to the invisible world, to the world of spirit, is quite courageous. You are all honored to do that, to choose to expand beyond the box, to expand into the unknown. It is a mystery, so there isn't much we can say until we discover the truth of what we seek, but this truth is actually hidden within ourselves. It means choosing to embrace to more of your soul, your higher self. Your higher self is all those invisible energy that are connected to you directly and personally. And so everybody has a higher self. Spirit, angels, ascended masters, planets, even the supreme. Supreme would be the ultimate, would be his higher self, but it's on a much higher level. But everything is always in change, in evolution. Everything is always changing, except the Paradise Trinity that keeps that will never change. That is the only because even all the higher divine consciousness is evolving through time as we become aware of them, and so on. So essentially, it is about neutralizing all the negative aspect of our ego personality, all those of our incarnation, to be able to neutralize them, to not let them take over, so we can achieve self-mastery, and then we begin to ascend within our consciousness. Once we begin to ascend within our consciousness, we come to realization that we need to get our vehicle or vessel, our body, ready for integration of a higher frequency, a much higher, much faster, much more conscious energy that could run through us. But so that is not, it is part of what is going on. Personally, during this Easter, I felt I was crucified, like most people. Every year we get crucified and resurrected. It is not necessarily a conscious thing, but I was thrown back into the past, and Spirit and God saying, well, you don't get rid of lifelong habits just like that. You have been thrown back until your will gets really strong, but it's coming about. And it might be the last year where we have to go through that. If we become aware, we will no longer have to suffer those setbacks. The more you are connected to your soul and your spirit, the more conscious you become in terms of spiritual evolution, and the more you are able to share, the more important you become to creation. That's just the law. Everybody, God loves all his children equally, but the more you become aware of your essence, the more power you have over the whole of creation, because you become a benevolent influence. And so that's just the way it is. And so you are very becoming tuning into those spiritual part of you will definitely make you a very valuable piece of that ascension process. So do not never underestimate your value. And because we were going through a very condensed time, the experiences are really going through really quickly, and so it is important to go through it and not resist, to let the flow go through. Just so that we can be free to experience the highest joy, the highest flow with grace and ease. Once we have removed all those obstacles, life is just a bed of roses. But but until we have dealt with all our issues, we are not necessarily able to be free, because those issues keep coming back until we address them. Therefore, life is a school, and we are children. We are both teachers and students in here, and so we have to learn something new every day. Well, I hope this message was interesting for you. I wanted to thank you for your presence, for your sharing, for your comments, to wish you a wonderful day, and I hope we can continue to work together, because I know there is hundreds of thousands of souls on the planet that are seeking this alignment, and this alone will create a great shift, and we'll be able to witness amazing things, amazing change that will eventually affect the Earth's plane in a way that is miraculous and unexpected. But we may be able to create to affect the world in a gentle way, and transform it from within, and from there we will be able to set the whole of humanity on the proper path, where everybody will find this joy is the meaning of his life, and without even having to play those ego games anymore. So I think that's all I wanted to say today. So I wish you a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later. Namaste.